Bridges Across Time. Chapter 1. A Leap Through Time. I still remember the day my life changed irrevocably like it was yesterday, despite it being more than a decade ago. My grandmother passed away, leaving behind a treasure trove of memories and secrets hidden within the confines of her old attic. Among the trunks, photographs, and dusty heirlooms, I found an antique locket that caught my eye. Its intricate design seemed to whisper tales from another era. Intrigued by its beauty and mystery, I opened it gently, feeling a strange tingling sensation as soon as our fingers touched. The next thing I knew, everything went dark, and when I came to, I was standing in the middle of a bustling street in what appeared to be the early 1900s. Confusion washed over me as horse-drawn carriages rattled by, women wore long skirts, and men donned top hats. My modern jeans and T-shirt stood out starkly against the Victorian attire surrounding me. A tall, dark-haired man with piercing blue eyes approached cautiously, his hand extended in greeting. "Welcome to 1903, miss. I'm Jack." The way he spoke with an unmistakable warmth in his voice made my heart skip a beat. There was something about him that felt familiar yet utterly foreign at the same time. "My name is Lily, and this wasn't just any day. It was a century ago." Jack offered me his arm, guiding me through the cobblestone streets to his family's estate on the outskirts of town, where he graciously took me in as his own. Days blended together in a haze of wonder. I adjusted to life in the early 20th century, and our bond grew stronger with each passing moment. As Jack showed me around, we talked extensively about everything from politics to books. We shared an uncanny connection despite being separated by over 100 years. One evening, as we sat on a moonlit porch, he confessed his curiosity about this enigmatic woman who had suddenly appeared in his life. He spoke of my mannerisms and the way I'd effortlessly fit into their world. My mind whirled. Could it be true? Was our connection merely coincidence or fate? As I pondered this question, Jack's hand found mine, sparking a flutter within me. "I want you to know how much you mean," he said softly before brushing his lips against my knuckles in an old-fashioned kiss. In that moment, a world of emotions tumbled over me. The thrill of an unexpected connection mixed with the fear of being lost in time. We navigated the complexities of early 20th century life together. From horseback rides to helping at his family's farm. Jack taught me how to harvest wheat, and I learned about his love for Shakespearean sonnets. One evening, while walking under a vast canopy of stars, he mentioned an ancestor named Evelyn who'd lived through turbulent times. My curiosity piqued. I asked if she was part of our lineage. The name echoed something deep within. Jack's gaze lingered before he nodded. "Great-granddaughter to great-grandson," he said with conviction that made it feel real. But how could this be? Our connection transcended time, but the mystery remained unsolved. My great-grandmother had always been a source of intrigue. She spoke of Evelyn often, but I never fathomed her experiences would become mine. Jack and I grew closer, sharing laughter as well as tears amidst hayfields and bonfires under starlit skies. Yet, there were moments when he glanced away with an unspoken pain in his eyes, leaving me wondering about the depth of our connection. One evening, after a long day at the farm, we sat by the fireplace listening to Jack's fiddle, the music hypnotizing me. He played Moonlight Serenade, and I felt as though it was written for us alone. As I watched him, an image flashed in my mind. A woman with raven hair and eyes that mirrored his. Evelyn. Who is she? I asked, breaking the spell of the melody. Jack hesitated before answering. Someone from long ago, someone dear to me. The truth was out there, but he wasn't ready to reveal it yet. A storm rolled in, forcing us into an old cottage for shelter as the winds howled outside. We huddled together under a patchwork quilt, sharing tales of our dreams and aspirations. His for travel beyond our town's borders, mine for writing stories that would touch hearts. It was on one of these nights that Jack took my hand unexpectedly. We'd reached an unspoken understanding about our bond, though he avoided the elephant in the room, Evelyn. The next day, a commotion at the farm caught us off guard. A man accused Jack's father of theft. In his defense, I spoke up and inadvertently let slip my true identity, revealing my presence from the future. Shocked, Jack fled to gather his thoughts, leaving me with more questions than answers. That night, before I fell asleep, he returned, an envelope in hand. A letter Evelyn wrote, addressed to "My dearest Jack." It spoke of love transcending time and a mysterious locket that could bring us together. "This isn't just chance," it read. The final line resonated deeply, "Do not let the present tear us apart." I awoke to an unfamiliar room with sunlight peeking through the window, but what truly shook me was the note pinned on Jack's chest. My name and his were interwoven in an intricate design within the text. I'd found myself inexplicably caught between two worlds as the past bled into the present. Perhaps the locket held more power than we dared imagine. Jack stood in the doorway, a look of wonder crossing his features before he rushed to me. "I know who you are," he said with an unmistakable smile, holding out his hand. We embraced, the connection between us palpable as I returned, and our hands locked like magnets. "Lily," he whispered, "you've been sent here for a reason." A sudden gust of wind swept through the room, threatening to tear me away from him, leaving me with more questions than answers. Chapter 2. Whispers in the Shadows. The days blurred together as we faced challenges in 1903, our love blossoming amidst hayrides and moonlit nights. But beneath the surface, secrets lurked. Jack's father, accused of theft, still weighed heavily on his mind. I stumbled upon Evelyn's diary, an era-appropriate leather-bound book containing tales of a tragic love story. Its pages spoke of love that bridged time, and my heart raced as I realized the significance. Could our connection be more than chance? As we read together under the shade of a tree, Jack caught me holding it. "How did you get this?" He took the diary from my trembling hands with the same mixture of curiosity and alarm in his eyes that mirrored mine. Unaware that Evelyn was her great-granddaughter, Jack revealed a family secret. Our ancestors had been torn apart by the war when Evelyn left to find him. They were separated, yet a letter changed everything. It brought them back together. Evelyn passed the locket from mother to daughter for generations, ensuring their love continued even in separation. His mother's letter arrived days after her disappearance. She vowed to return and never leave again. Jack had always found solace in those words. A reminder that true love conquers all time. I yearned for answers but knew not what questions to ask amidst the whirlwind emotions that tugged us toward each other and away from our worlds. Evelyn's story was intertwined with ours. It seemed fate wanted us together. However, Jack's father remained in jail, accused of theft. Determined to clear his name, I visited him, pleading for a second chance. His words echoed what Evelyn wrote. The locket could bring them back. He spoke of Evelyn leaving, not once but twice. When they were young and again after her father fell ill. "You're here to fix this," he said resolutely. But how? As sun began setting on our final day together before I'd likely be gone, Jack confessed love for me, a sentiment mirrored in Evelyn's words. My heart soared, his was spoken, while mine stuttered with the weight of responsibility and love that knew no bounds. "The world is vast," he said, "but my future belongs to you." It wasn't just coincidence. It was destiny, echoing the story our ancestors never lived. I returned the locket as we said goodbye in a torrential rain. I found myself back home with Evelyn's letter still clutched within my hand. In the present, Jack held an old-fashioned trunk, and inside lay another note. From me. It spoke of Evelyn finding him again, a second chance at love amidst chaos and war. My future, intertwined with his great-grandson in 1903, had traveled back to 1945 when Jack needed it most. I'd been sent for more than just our romance, but as a beacon of hope during the Second World War. In this time-slipper of love and loss, I found myself torn between Evelyn's heartache and my duty to bring solace to both men who loved her in different eras. How could I reconcile these worlds? The letter's end was poignant. You left me twice, but you returned. We were two sides of the same coin, a love that transcended time. Torn between Evelyn's grief and Jack's plea for salvation, my heart felt like it had been plucked from reality. A letter dated 1918 spoke of her pregnancy. He asked his father to take her back while she remained in New York, only to be reunited once more. In the last days of war, another letter spoke of a miracle. They had 2 children, a son and daughter born with Evelyn's dark hair. As I read on, my eyes brimmed. His fingers gently wiped away the tears as we clung together amidst chaos. Chapter 3. Bridges Across Time. The weight of love between eras bore down upon me in ways both exhilarating and suffocating. Jack Sr., still in jail, received a letter from Evelyn. Pregnant and determined to return for him. In 1945, I found myself on his doorstep. With no memory of how I'd traversed time, my heart felt at once lighter and heavier. Our great-granddaughter was born, but war separated them again. He pleaded for her to stay, the pain of loss etched on his face. As Evelyn left, she handed him a small, ornate box with a note. "I'll return." The son I'd become in 1975, Jack Jr., held it tenderly and asked if he should wait or go. They made an impromptu decision that would alter the course of lives. To follow her. We stood in the silence of war-torn Paris together as Evelyn took a taxi, clutching me tightly against the backdrop of destruction. Jack Jr.'s hands trembled holding their son. I knew what it took to give up everything for love. My heart had traversed centuries, and our bond was all that sustained them through turmoil. The future beckoned. But at what cost? In his arms, he whispered Evelyn's story as his fingers traced the lines on her locket. We said goodbye amidst gunfire in Paris, promising to return if they could not be together. My hand brushed against the metal, an image flashed of a son born with dark hair in New York City, where Jack Sr. received the box. A son, Jack Jr., chose to wait for Evelyn, but as I opened my eyes again, we were back on their farm. Their love story began when they first met by the pond. Evelyn spoke of dreams and a letter from an unknown woman. It was me. Our great-grandson found solace in what his father had never seen before. The war ended, so did Evelyn's time here. He took her to see their children, a baby boy and girl, who bore their dark hair. The son asked to wait, and they were reunited one last time. I felt like I was reliving their story, and with each breath, the realization became undeniable. I had traveled through love. Jack Jr.'s wife discovered Evelyn's letter. She chose love too. The day our great-granddaughter was born, Jack Jr.'s wife asked him to leave and return to his first true love. "Find your way back," he implored his father in a note from my future self, before he married me. They met on the farm. I had brought them together. Evelyn's eyes shone as they reunited at dusk. Their love was rekindled. My world crumbled yet held together beautifully within Jack Sr.'s arms. Jack Jr. found Evelyn, but so did his wife. Our great-grandson grew, and her heart ached with the choice between two loves. Love had been an anchor in the most trying time. It guided him, leading him to me. I was sent by my future self. Love knows no bounds, not even war or time. There was no shame in loving both Jack Sr. and Jack Jr. Evelyn gave birth before her great-granddaughter took his hand. Their son would understand their decision. And so, he did. They were reunited once more. With heavy hearts, Jack Sr. and I said goodbye amidst the pond where it began. Evelyn's story ended with a promise: find your way back. The final chapter of love was to be written by us. Our great-grandson would choose his father or mother. His letter arrived as Evelyn passed away in my arms, an aged woman clutching her child and locket that now held two photographs. Jack Sr.'s and Jack Jr.'s faces. Their love story began at the pond, just like theirs did. In the end, she left for a man who'd be with us forever. He chose you, he told me, his face etched in pain yet hopeful. Our great-granddaughter's letter awaited. My hand found an envelope on my nightstand as I opened it and read Jack Jr.'s love note. They were reuniting again amidst the farm's golden sun. Their story ended beautifully, ours was just beginning to be written. Jack Sr., now a widower, chose our son and spent his life by Evelyn's side. Their child marveled at both men who'd loved him. His daughter understood Evelyn's heart, which now beat for them both. It's not about choosing between one or the other. Love knows no bounds. In 1945, their love shone brighter than ever before. Come back, I whispered, and with a kiss beneath the pond where they met, Jack Sr.'s great-granddaughter chose love. The boy grew up to be our son. He loved both men and found peace in this world. We spent our days together, they had decades more. As they embraced again, Evelyn smiled tenderly before passing away peacefully, surrounded by their children. Our son stood between the two men who'd loved him unconditionally. He chose neither or both. Love knows no bounds. Evelyn Sr.'s eyes locked on theirs. His heart was full of joy and peace as he met our daughter at the pond once more. Jack Jr., weeping, returned to a world in ruin but had the comfort that they never parted despite being apart. I felt Evelyn's pulse quicken in my chest. Her child would find love with both men. You, Evelyn Sr. whispered. She smiled as she took her last breath. As I read through their daughter's letter, our great-grandson chose them both. A life lived on the farm they once shared. They reunited, and I was no longer alone in my journey. I held Jack Sr.'s hand. There wasn't a choice to make. Love had always been unconditional for him. The past spoke of what we'd never dared to dream, two men who found peace together. In 1975, they built a life that spanned decades with our son. Jack Sr. and Jack Jr. returned home. Their love became his story. My love story and theirs. Jack Sr.'s letter awaited on the farm where we first met. I was sent to bridge their lives back together. Love had no bounds. It chose neither, but them both. I arrived back in 1945 with Evelyn's final breath. Our daughter embraced both men who'd loved her so dearly. My son, now a grown man, stood on the pond overlooking Jack Sr.'s farm. He was an artist and painter of love stories. A single kiss sealed their reunion as his parents married amidst the remains of war-torn Paris. The past spoke of two men who'd found peace together. They chose each other. His brush painted the scene in front of him with colors I had yet to see, capturing a love that knew no bounds. Jack Jr.'s hand held Evelyn's as she passed away in his arms. Their lives were entwined like the brushstrokes he used so effortlessly on canvas or the pages of my journal. Our great-grandson smiled tenderly at me before returning home with our daughter. They married again amidst a backdrop of sunflowers. It is said that true love always finds you, and sometimes it takes time but finds you. I had found mine in both Jack Sr. and Jack Jr.'s embrace. In 1975, the letter spoke of two men who'd found their way to each other's hearts. My son painted these scenes on canvas for his father to be passed down as an heirloom, a testament to their love. They held hands amidst sunflowers again. They found peace in each other. Their eyes were so full of love, and it was the last time I saw him before he took Evelyn's hand. The final breath left her chest before she smiled at me tenderly. Love had no bounds.